Greetings, folks. Very excited to have our special guest with us today, Dr. Russ Rosen, longtime friend of mine. We go back, well, actually, where did I meet you? In Hawaii, where you live, Maui, 1996?
1996.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
So that's some years ago. And, less gray, more hair, you know, all that kind of stuff. Or you'd like to say in Rustrum we could let our hair down, but yeah, that's if we had any.
The hair on my back. That's all I got.
Well, you need that sweater in the East Coast. So he flies in from Maui. We're here in the People's Republic of New Jersey, as Dr. Kent would like to refer to it. And to this day, it happened to be -4 degrees when we got up. So he's got his Hawaiian shirt on, but he's got a thermal underneath the Hawaiian shirt. But I gotta tell you, no matter how cold it is, his information is hot. That was kind of bad, huh? I don't know. All right. So anyway, so I met Russ years ago, and we've interviewed him on purpose 5 times. I guess the 6th time coming up now. And Russ is an extraordinary chiropractic coach who was an extraordinary chiropractic practitioner who really, really gets the communication side and orientation side of having patients understand optimum health and developing a practice that's built around the concept of optimum health. One of the biggest things that I think is a challenge to chiropractors is that what they want, their vision is a lifetime family wellness care center. That's what they want. What they've got is a back and neck pain center, and in the gap between what they want and what they've got are contradictions that prevent it, and the consequence of which is that they end up in perpetual frustration. And Russ had really mastered this in an extraordinary way. I can remember one time he called me up. I won't tell the whole story, but it was his birthday, celebrating his biggest day in practice. I think it was you said it was you saw 172
179
179 patients one day, 100% cash. That was the big thing. He was, made the conversion to a completely non-insurance spending practice or a cash practice, and was seeing, big volume, 179 in a day on his birthday. That's a great way to celebrate a birthday.
It was, and it was coming after the crash, where my practice of kind of 80-90 day went down to 40.
Right.
So then I went to the mountain.
Total solution.
Right.
Yeah.
And then and I wasn't doing that on every day. I was about 125, but it was straight cash. People happy to pay to get healthy and stay healthy,
yeah.
Right? No marketing
right.
At the time, except I did a TV show because you helped me understand I need to get the message out.
That's right.
But I didn't need it to get patients. So, yeah, people that want to get healthy and stay healthy versus get out of pain.
Yep.
And there's a huge contradiction in that gap.
There is, and this is where I think chiropractors need a lot of help and support. So Russ, over the years now, I mean, when we created Creating Wellness, and we put out, I think there's somewhere around 300 Creating Wellness centers out there. When I needed to figure out how do we get people to make this transition, what are the systems that we put in place, the communication strategies we put in place to kind of turnkey this whole process, we brought Russ in as a consultant to help us with that whole process, and he really helped structure the whole manual on that. So he's got a lot of years of experience in doing this, and I'm passionate about this. I have been for a lot of years. So I'm really excited that he and I can have a little bit of a conversation today and share that with you, and give you some takeaway things that you can put on the ground right after you're done watching this video to help move you in that direction if you're trying to move in that direction, or if you are already there, up your game a bit there. So you've created, you've done Rosen coaching for many years now. I don't know how many years, over 10 years,
13
right?
years.
13 years. And now you've gone through kind of I'm going to call it rebranding, but it was a reformation that caused the rebranding of what Rosen coaching was, which is now what?
The Optimal Health Chiropractic System.
It's Optimum Health Chiropractic System. So
Yeah.
basically that's a system that you coach in to help chiropractors go to an optimum health-based practice.
Yeah, Optimal Health
Yeah.
Chiropractic System. Yeah, and as I was just telling Pat, I was working with Rick, and I was looking at rebranding my business, my Angie's business, and I was so confused in these different phrases and things, and I called up Pat and I said, dude, I'm trying to figure this out. What do you think? And in classic Pat, he goes, are you kidding? No, I'm not kidding, man. I got like 20 hours into this. Help me. He goes, well, when it comes to helping doctors get patients to understand optimal health chiropractic, that's what you do. You're the best at that. So I went, oh, the Optimal Health Chiropractic System. So I called up Rick. I just talked to Pat. He goes, okay, there. That's it. We're home.
And incidentally, there's a little lesson in that story. It's what's your greatest strength? And typically there's a clue there, because whatever you're really strong at is a pretty good clue as to what your purpose is. Because that's your innate ability. That's what you're just naturally good at, which is kind of, I think, a really good indicator of what your purpose might be. If you've got weaknesses, like me in playing guitar, I make fun of myself. I mean, I play okay, but it's like, I don't think my purpose on the planet is to play guitar. It might be something that I enjoy,
right.
But I'm not like a world-class guitar player. So even though I can do it and I enjoy it, and if you look right over there, you'd see drums, piano, guitars, amps, my whole band set up over there. But that's not my purpose in life. That's my hobby in life. My purpose is something else. So in Russ's case, that's why I looked at it. I said, you came in. Look, you are world class at this. What are you great at? What do you love to do? And what does the world need? Right. Those three things come together, and that's your purpose. So anyway, and Russ, took off with that. Now you've got some structure around this, where you have some pillars and practices around how you do this. So what is that exactly?
Yeah, so here's how it works. And there's a ebook that Dr. Angie and I just wrote, and you guys can download it, and I hope you will. It's called The 8 Steps to Get Patients to Happily Stay, Pay, and Refer for a Lifetime. And the question is, would you like people to happily stay, pay, and refer for a lifetime? And the answer is, well, of course. So then, we have an entire structure and different levels that you can coach with us, doing our online program or group coaching or actually coaching.
But the book is free, right?
The book is free.
A free download.
Just go ahead and download it. It's the 8stepsbook.com, number 8, the 8stepsbook.com. And really it's just based on 3 pillars, and it's something that I know you're very aware of. It's getting really congruent with your headspace, who you are, what you do, what your product is, step 1.
Right.
And that's usually where the biggest problem is. We talk to docs and they say, okay, well, what do you want to do? I want to help people get healthy and stay healthy. Oh, okay, cool. So tell me about your communications. It's all about pain. So there's this huge gap. There's a huge gap of where the patient comes in, what they think you can do for them and what you think you can do for them. That's a huge gap. And then there's a huge gap of what you think you can do for them and how you're communicating.
Right.
Right? So it's that. Then there's congruent strategies. Obviously, you need congruent strategies to get from point A to point B. And then one of the huge ones is continuous right action.
Right. And that's where a lot of people fall short. They can get all there, but then they don't have the action to follow through. What's interesting is Nathaniel Brandon, who I just went to his memorial service this past weekend in L.A.
I didn't know he passed.
Oh, yeah, he did. About 2 months ago. Oh, he was an amazing man.
Yeah.
And my intellectual mentor, and I was honored because I was one of 6 people asked to speak at his memorial. But one of the 6 pillars of self-esteem, which chiropractors I think need, which is what you're saying in essence, is the practice of personal integrity. And Nathaniel defined personal integrity as congruence between what you think, say, and do.
Absolutely.
So you could think it, so you're saying, hey, get your head right. You can say it, and here's the communication. But now you got to do it, and that's that continuous right action, I think, that you're talking about.
Absolutely.
So I think that those sound like, to me, those pillars make simple sense. I mean, they're logical things that get put in place. So once you kind of insert these pillars, then what's the next part of, or what are the things that they do?
Yeah, the 5 systems are getting really clear about headspace and personal growth, where we really dive deep into that. Who are you? What do you do? That whole thing. And then step 2 is building an operating system for your business. So running it like a business,
right.
Versus like a mom and pop store, and also building a dream team, which very few people know how to hire and train.
Right.
And then step 3 would be communications, which I really believe our communications are as good or better than anything out there.
You're king of that hill. Yeah.
If you want to get people to get healthy and stay healthy, then I'm really confident in that.
Can I make a distinction here too? That this is something that I think is really important, because there's a couple schools of thought here, and what I loved about Russ and why we brought him into creating wellness, and I'm not here just trying to toot your horn, but this is a genuine sentiment, is that you make a distinction between patient care and patient scare. Yeah. And so much of what chiropractors are sometimes taught is that you try to compel a patient to engage in care or invest in a care plan through scare tactics as compared to care tactics. Can you just speak on that for a second?
Yeah, and what you'll hear, and it doesn't matter whether it's religion or whether it's chiropractic or whatever, when you hear someone say it's for their own good, watch out.
Yeah.
Someone's getting screwed here.
You're going to do it. Vaccines, it's for your own good.
Your own good. Right? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's just a huge issue. On one end of the spectrum, we've got patient scare, which is I will manipulate you and scare you into care. And again, it's the silent killer and all that stuff. And is it? Yeah, I get that. But my intent is to scare the person, and if you know enough about healing, you know that you really don't want to do that.
Right. I mean, you'll subluxate them further by scaring them.
Absolutely. You know, the whole Bernie Siegel, you know, he's the Love Medicine Miracles. He said, I am a cancer doctor. And when I tell people you have cancer, I say in the same breath, and I'm going to introduce you to 5 people today who had the same cancer as you, who have completely healed themselves. Because he said the number one indicator in his world was if you're going to make it or not is fear. Yeah. If you suck, if you buy into the fear, you're done.
Yep.
So I don't want to use scare tactics. On the other hand, there's so many people who are non-assertives that, you know, the last thing they would ever do is scare, but they don't ever tell the truth. Yeah. They never get to actually telling the person the truth.
Right, and that's kind of a delicate line to walk. I mean, can you imagine starting off a relationship based on scare? Well, I think I'll marry you because I'm afraid I'll never get married otherwise. Right? Is that the reason you want somebody to marry you?
You should marry her or I'll kill you.
Yeah, even worse.
How's that go?
The silent killer: marry me or die. Yach. So you could imagine that's probably not the healthiest way to start a relationship if you're trying to create optimal health. If you want long-term relationships that are healthy in nature. Yeah. So I think that's critical, and I think what you've really refined over time, and have proven it, in your own practice, and have proven it in other practices that you've coached, is that there are ways to be able to communicate to a person in an effective way, and it's somewhat Socratic, in the way that you work, very much Socratic, that has them not be afraid. Which is what motivates them, but to hear the truth and then get some inspiration behind it so that they want to make good decisions.
Absolutely. We're empowering people through Socratic questions, and a Socratic question is just this. You ask them a question and they go like this. What? When it makes them think. So if I can ask them appropriate questions to help them recognize that they want this, that's the key. Right. I can try and make my kids eat their vegetables, or I can help them understand that they want it. I'll have a very different experience. Right. There's a series of questions that we ask people. There's an entire process you take people to find out if, in fact, they want what you offer. Now, here's the rub on this. If they don't want what you offer, bless their heart, give them a hug, and get them on their way. I tell people all the time, where I'm at in my career right now, I'm really picky about who I choose to work with, right? I'm in a lot of demand, and I can afford to, right? And I do my best to help you do the same thing. Why would you want to work with someone who doesn't want what you offer? Why would you want to work with someone who just wants to get out of pain versus get healthy and stay healthy, or whatever it is that you love to do, right? Mine and Angie's niche market is specifically docs who want to help people get healthy and stay healthy. That's it. So when I talk to docs, I ask, so the first thing I say is, well, who are you and what do you do? And it's silence. And it's like, okay, so what is chiropractic? Silence, or I get a lay lecture. So, like, what is it? Like, really get clear about it. There are doctors who they want to fix the spine so that someone's out of pain. And bless your heart, when I'm in pain, I want to get out of pain. It's not what I do. Right? But, very simply, and we help doctors customize their version of this, depending upon I'm working with pregnant women, I'm working with kids, or I like to, the smaller the niche market, the bigger the response. Right. But what is it that we do? Well, from my perspective, and I have written 200 pages on this, that I boiled down, and I came down to this right here. Right? It's like Walt Whitman, I wanted to write you a short letter, but I didn't have time, so I wrote you a long one.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
What do? We help people get healthy and stay healthy. Okay? Well, how do you do it? We crack subluxations and show them ways not to recreate it. All right? Well, what can they hope for? Well, they can hope to feel better, prevent problems in the future, reverse the effects of the aging process, be healthier in 5 years than they are right now, and have a better life. Now, that's the truth of what they can hope for. One of the things that drives me crazy out there, which leads to so many problems for chiropractors, is we go to the seminars where the dudes at the pulpit, the preachers at the pulpit, and they're saying chiropractic fixes everything. You come into my office, you're getting better. Bullshit. It's not true. because there's so many other factors. So here's what happens. People go to the seminars and it's chiropractic fixes everything. They come back to their practice and there's a person that they're really not helping. They know it. They're doing the scans like nothing's changing. Now, one of two things are true. Either chiropractic is a lie or I suck. Those are my options. So which one's going to lead to a better building of your practice? Chiropractic is a lie or I suck? Neither. So why don't we just be honest? Is it true that they most likely could feel better?
Most likely, yes. And so I'd add a third one in there. They are just not the right chiropractor for that particular patient.
Yes.
Doesn't mean they suck. It just means that for that patient they suck.
But that's not what they take out of it.
Yeah.
What they take is I suck.
Yeah. Which is the wrong
absolutely.
conclusion. Yeah.
Because absolutely. I mean, I that's part of the deal. It's like we're very clear. We let them know up front what we're going to do, and if we're not doing it, we're going to monitor closely, and if not, we're going to refer out, and we do refer out because it's okay that I'm not the right person for you.
I mean, if your premise, and this would be it's a perfectionist premise, that you are 100%, that you are 100% right for every person that you work on,
you're
in for a really bad time.
That's right.
And so you have options. If you have multiple techniques, you can try different techniques. If you are focused on a technique and there's other colleagues that do other techniques, you can refer. But it's a different orientation. We used to tell solutions, say that the patient pays you for care, not cure. Right? That's the whole idea. They're paying for your time, your talent, your experience. Look at cancer doctors who do chemotherapy. Oncologists. You'll find that the patient could die. They still get paid. The patient's not paying them for a cure. They're paying them for care.
And part of the care is the expertise to know when this is working and when it's not.
Right. That's right.
I had a great experience where I was doing that work and I had a pretty good practice going in, and I was pretty decent at doing that work. And there was this dude who was not coming along and not coming along and not coming along, and I just kept telling him the story. No, this is working and blah blah blah. Scans weren't changing, but like they got to get better, right?
Right.
And he went and saw a buddy of mine up country who did crane occipital lift.
Yeah.
If you ever had one of those, it's let me rip your head off. and he came back better. Like he was better. I checked his scans. It was like, holy cow, man, this is amazing. And I got it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not the savior for everyone. So I've got to be very clear about it. But the trick is this: who are you and what do you do? To me, it's really simple. I help people get healthy and stay healthy and have the best life possible. How do you do it? Correct nerve interference, show them ways not to recreate it. Can they hope to feel better? Yes. Are you sure? No. You're not sure. They could have an alien that was inserted overnight. They could have nerve damage. Like you don't know what's going on, but you're going to monitor closely. Can you help prevent problems in the future? Without a doubt. Are you positive they're never going to have any kind of health issue? Nonsense. That's nonsense. Sure. If you've been in practice long enough, you know people that have been under your care that had heart attacks, had cancer, had strokes, all that kind of stuff. We're talking odds here.
Yeah.
Right? I'm talking about my wife's uncle, 11 years old, started a fifth a day and 3 packs of cigarettes. He was in 3 car accidents, killing 3 people. He did this his whole life. The last day of his life, he was drinking, he was smoking. He was 101 years old.
Oh.
I'm suggesting that's not a strategy for health. The odds aren't in his favor, but it could happen.
He's an outlier.
Yeah, I'm suggesting that the odds are get adjusted, make sure you're getting proper nerve supply, check the scans, make sure you're actually clearing them up, make sure they're eating while exercising and dealing with stress, and they got better odds of feeling better, preventing problems, literally reversing the effects of the aging process, and having a better life. So here's my question. If they really got that they could get that from you, if they could understand that their life could be better, they live their life through their nervous system, as you guys would say, they live their life through their nervous system. If they really understood this, might they value your care more? And the answer is yes. So there are strategies to help them absolutely understand this. In fact, at the end of the examination, they say it out loud. Examination's 3 to 5 minutes, and at the end they say, I understand I could be subluxated. That could be causing this as well as all these other things you found. Wow, I had no idea. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you for telling me. Right?
Stop there for a second. Get into wow, I had no idea. That's one of your intentions for the report. That's what you want them to come out with.
Yeah, right? Man. We did one of our whole ones was on wow, I had no idea. The whole thing was on it.
But that was on purpose. This might be a completely different way, so go right into it.
So here's the deal. During the examination, I literally want them to stop and say, wow, I had no idea. Like, no one told me this before. This is amazing. It's a novel idea, right? When you get them to do that, it shifts their consciousness. You are not who they thought you were. They thought you were someone who was going to help with their neck and back pain. But when you connect the dots and you help them understand, so oftentimes when you do have a subluxation causing these kinds of headaches, we'll find a tender spot here. Is it tender there? Yeah, well, that makes sense because this nerve goes to here. But what's really interesting is oftentimes when you've got that, we'll notice spaciness, dizziness, mood swings, brain fog, eyes, ears, nose, throat. Did you ever get any of these things? And they're holding the chart right here, and they're looking at it, and they're underlining the things they got going on, and they go, yes, how did you know? And you say, well, because this nerve also affects those areas. If you're not getting proper nerve supply, it doesn't make sense that you would have those kinds of problems. And they literally will say, wow, I had no idea. I get emails all the time, and I talk to people all the time who will email me going, dude, I heard it. Like, I did it, and the patient literally said, wow, I had no idea. Right? Yeah. And there's versions of that. Yeah. There's so many different versions.
And you call that touch, tell, ask, teach.
Touch, tell, ask, teach.
I think that's another kind of signature aspect of what you do and what you teach, which I think is so important because there's a big power in touching the person too, right?
Absolutely.
Not just sitting here with a clipboard and writing, but touching, telling, asking, teaching.
And going to it.
Yeah.
Stick your thumb in it. Cause the doorbell response, right? I got pain here. I got a wrist problem. Here's what chiropractors do. I got a wrist problem. You do? Well, let me check. And they're going, I got a wrist. Did you miss that class? Right, so I get you to touch whatever is going on with them. I get philosophically some people don't agree with that, but it's about them, not about you.
You have to decide if you're if you're vitalistic, if everything is connected. Right. So you're saying that some people have a problem like with touching an area that might be.
Oh, absolutely. I deal with it all the time. I was just in Europe and I did a talk. We had to spend an hour on it because there were a few different doctors that I just will not touch their symptom. And it's like, it's not about you. So if Pat has headaches and I go like this, sorry about my cold hands, because it's freezing, and I go like this, am I going to learn anything from him by palpating this? No, he is. He's going to learn that I know where his headache is. Right? I got headaches here. You do. It's interesting right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because interesting, oftentimes if you do have a subluxation that's causing those kinds of headaches, well, we're going to find a tender spot there. Is that tender? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I think we might have found the underlying cause of your problem. It would make sense because this nerve goes here. Look at this chart. Here's what's interesting. Oftentimes, if you do have this going on, we may also notice this. Do you ever get any of that? Yes, I do. Well, that makes sense because the body, literally, this goes here and that does that. And I'll tell you what, if you have that going on, which clearly you do, got that? Which clearly you do, you may have another one down about right there. Is that tender there? Yeah. So let me ask you a question. Oftentimes when you have that, we may notice this going on. Do you ever notice that?
Yeah.
Holy cow, how'd you know that? Well, I'm a chiropractor. That's where the nerves go to. If you're not getting the problem nerve supply, those things that happen. Now just prove your case. And I got to tell you, oftentimes if you do have that, here's what we're going to expect to see on your scans. If you do have that, do me a favor, turn your head to the left and predict. Predict. Turn your head to the left, turn your head to the right. Oftentimes you're going to notice a limited range of motion. Turn your head to the left, turn your head to the right. Wow. You see how it doesn't want to go to the right? When you're subluxated, there's nerve interference that causes muscles to pull on bones, and then it feels stuck. Does it feel stuck? Yes. Then you must be subluxated. It's such an easy thing. Get to the area, motor sensory autonomic, prove your case. Motor sensory autonomic, prove your case, get him to say it out loud. Yeah. So when you do, if you go to the 8stepsbook.com, the first email you'll get is a video where we talk about how to build rapport, etc. The second one is teaching this, and we actually give you the brochure that you'll use with the patient where they get to underline all the things going on. It's a killer brochure. And then the third video is literally getting them to say it out loud, right? Because to me, getting them to say it out loud is hitting the save button. You type this whole great Word document and you hit close, but you didn't hit save. So they go home and they come back, they forgot it all. When they say it out loud, they own it. They own it for the moment. And now all I have to do is ask myself this question: did they believe it? Well, you can tell by their facial expression and by their body. But if they can't say it out loud, if all they get is yes or no, so Pat, does it make sense that blah, blah, blah? Yes. Does it make sense this? Yes. I have no idea if he gets it, right? So Pat, you tell me. So this area could be causing what? Do you remember?
My headaches.
You're right, but what else could that be causing? And
the problem down,
yeah, I'm pointing to the words. You can't miss it, right? What else could that be causing?
The problems down in my wrist.
Exactly. And what do you think probably brought this on in the first place, which we just went over, by the way?
The stress in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. A car accident, getting raised by wolves and sold to the circus, crack cocaine, I mean, all of that. And
no, not the circus.
Yeah, the circus. and you tell me, so you tell me over time, and again, we've been through this. Over time, What do you think happens if you don't get this corrected?
It gets worse.
I'd have to agree with you.
Yeah.
See, I'm not scaring him. I'm simply agreeing with him. It's his truth. It's not my truth. It went through the crocodile brain, in the midbrain, into the neocortex. I don't care about here. I care about down here.
Right.
I got to get it into the subconscious, right? And I got to get him to say it. So I'll tell you, I'd have to agree with you if you don't get it taken care of. Odds are that's probably not good. So if we're to correct your subluxations and show you ways not to recreate it, what would you hope for? What would you expect?
I'd feel a lot better. My head would feel better.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Odds are. And do you think, as far as problems in the future, you think that you got a better chance of being healthier or having more problems?
For sure, healthier.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and so you tell me, this is a back problem or a health problem? What do you think?
I guess it's a health problem.
I'd have to agree. Or they'll say both. So listen, you've got headaches, sinus problems, indigestion, allergies, gonorrhea, diarrhea, PMS. You got all this stuff. So
PMS.
You got PMS. So you tell me, back problem or health problem. You're going to get one of two answers, I guarantee you. Health problem or both. And if they say both, I'd agree. Yep, I'd agree. You definitely got a back problem, and it is affecting your health. So here's my question. Do you really want to get healthy and stay healthy?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. So that's the end of the exam, right? Then in the report of findings, I'm going to find out how healthy they want to get. I'm literally on a negative 10 to 0 to positive 10, near death, feeling comfortable, and really optimally healthy, knowing that you're functioning at your optimum. And how do you know you're functioning at your optimum? Because all these tests are clear and all the scans are clear, or as clear as we're going to get them. So do you just want to feel good? And that's okay for you right now. It's not one real choice and one choice only a moron would choose. It's like temporary Band-Aid patch it up there.
Yeah.
But I really want to know how healthy they want to get. And if they want to get this healthy, then I literally draw a line in the sand. I don't trust it. I don't believe it. I know you said you want to get healthy. Stroke your goatee if you don't have one, grow one. And say, look, I get that you say you want to get healthy, and I guess my question is, is that what you really want? I mean, do you really want to get healthy and stay healthy? You want to be able to skydive, again, swing from the chandeliers and have sex, whatever it was that they wanted to do, make it all about them. And do you want to do everything it's going to take to get there? Or you kind of want to just get feeling better, which is okay for you right now, or somewhere in between, knowing that you didn't really correct the problem. Pat, all I need to know is what you truly want, and I'm going to show you how to get there. What do you want? And the stake in the ground, draw a line in the sand. What you're going to hear is, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I want to get healthy and stay healthy. I had no idea that this is what you guys did. Why didn't anyone tell me this before? That's what you got to hear. And then one of two things will happen. They're going to say, I want to get healthy and stay healthy, and show them how to have it. Or they're going to say, I just want to feel better. You got two choices. Pat, remember at the beginning I told you my main goal was to make sure you were in the right place to get the care that you need. And my promise was I was going to do my best to help you get it. Now, I know you want to get feeling better. You're not really looking to get to the underlying cause. That isn't what I do. There is a guy down the street who does it, and he's great at it. Let me refer you to him. 9 out of 10 people are going to go, wait a minute, can't you just crack my neck? And I would just go, I have done it many times. I could. Absolutely could. But I need to be able to sleep at night. And I know the truth of the matter is that it will feel better, but it will continue to cause problems and degenerate and get worse. And I don't want to do that. So you got two choices. One of them, refer them out. The other one, take them on. Work with them for a shorter period of time, build a relationship with them, and you have time to help this, help them do it. Whichever one you do is fine. I don't have any problems with it. Personally, I've done it both ways. The trick is, it comes down to your philosophy, your truth.
And this is, it's a question I've gotten in philosophy formula pretty often from people who are in the program, where they'd say, well, if somebody doesn't want to engage in a 12-month care plan, a 6-month care plan, should I just not accept them? And what Russ is saying, I agree with 100%. There's no right or wrong here. It's a matter of what kind of practice do you want to have and where do you draw your lines. I've done it both ways also, where you can just say, I'm at a point in my practice now where I only want to accept this person who's going to make this level of commitment, and with love you refer them out. Right. Or you might say, I know I've got healthcare class coming up, table talk, all the daily interaction, everything that's going to go on, and I'll give it time and educate them. And if they, there's a good probability that they'll probably choose ongoing care after whatever the lesser care was that they chose. So here's what I would say is, don't torture yourself over this. Don't feel like you're compromising yourself if you accept somebody. for less than the 12-month care plan. But at the same time, if you just are clear that you just don't want to, it's just not in your nature to want to do that, that's fine too. As long as you're putting them in a position to succeed in the limited level that they want to somewhere else.
That's right, and it comes down to those three pillars. Clarify who you are and what you do. Mm-hmm. What is my truth? And here's the thing, there is no one truth, and your truth will change. I've done it several different ways because it changed.
Yeah.
So, truth changes, my truth changes. So clarify what your truth is, come up with congruent strategies, so have a way to make it work without making them bad, without making them wrong.
Right.
Right, and then continuous right action. And to me, the continuous right action is keep doing it and watching it and asking yourself this question: is it working for me? Mm-hmm. Right? As you grow and evolve, certain things change, and so there isn't a bad, there isn't a wrong. And oftentimes, the preachers at the pulpit mm-hmm. will make us feel we're bad or wrong mm-hmm. if we're doing it this way. You're not. This is your practice. It's your world. Run it your way, but make sure that you're clear about the why behind the how. Right? Do the philosophy summit. Right?
Summits, we have the formula for the whole 12-week course, but yes.
Yeah, by the way, just for fun on that, there was a gal I was working with, sweetest gal in the world, really was not able to help her get where I wanted to, and she had stopped coaching. We emailed back and forth, and she took the philosophy formula, and it just broke. I mean, it just broke. Yeah. And she called me back and said, all right, I got it now.
I'm ready.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, so do that. Get clear about who you are and what you do. Come up with congruent strategies to make sure that those things actually are going to come to fruition. And then continuous right action, and you will have growth.
And this is simple. It's not necessarily easy. In other words, I think it's very simple when you hear the concepts. They all make perfect sense. What I love about the way Russ works is everything just makes sense in a really simple manner. But it's not necessarily easy to make manifest in your life. It requires time, repetition, etc. It's like saying, hey, giving an adjustment is maybe somewhat simple, but correcting a subluxation takes time and a process, etc. I have to tell you that I get enormously excited about the information that Russ communicates and teaches and coaches in, and I've been a big fan of it for a long time. And when I needed help in this realm in one of my own companies, he's the guy that I turned to hire to come in and help me with this. So I'm hoping that he was helpful to you today. If you were to replay this tape multiple times, so where this recording, there's no tape. But if you were to replay this recording multiple times and let your staff see it too, etc. And here's the thing, there's no manipulation here. There's no exaggeration here. There's no misrepresentation here. This is just the truth delivered in a tangible way that any chiropractor could do it and any patient can receive it. That's what it is. But as you said, getting there is a refinement process. It's distilling it all down and getting it into that nice little tight package that you have. So get the book, the 8
steps.book.com.
It's 8 steps, plural. So the 8 steps, and the number 8, the 8stepsbook.com. That's the first step, man. Get that, read that book, engage in this, and I think you'll find that you can create an optimal health practice that you will feel proud of, and that will be an expression of your inner self in your outer career. Any last words?
Yeah, just know this. You can do it. If you want an optimal health kind of practice, and many of you don't, so bless your heart. For those of you who do, I promise you can do it, but it is a mastery process. It's the difference between the white belt hitting the board and the black belt hitting the board. They look exactly the same until they hit the board. The white belt breaks their hand, the black belt breaks the board. It's the hoodoo, not the voodoo. Right? When you get this stuff, when you own it, when you become a master, you're simply having conversations, right? There's no scripting, although we have scripts for everything. It's really learning how to have a conversation with somebody, ask them a series of questions, not to lead them to ruin, but to lead them to empowerment. There's a difference. Series of questions, you know what you're trying to accomplish, and just have a conversation. And you will find out what they want. And if you can clarify what they want in relationship to what you can do for them, which is much bigger than they thought. And then once you find out what they want, you simply show them how to have it. They'll either want it or they don't. And we bless their heart. That's it.
It's that simple. So, Russ, Man, thanks for making the trip all the way from Hawaii.
Absolutely, my
and
brother.
being here with us.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I love bringing these Russ rooms to you. They're free. I believe they have stimulating content to get your brain working. It's in a, you can tell we're not all dressed up and polished here. We just show up in a very raw way to speak to you in a truthful way. And my hope and purpose in doing these is that it delivers value that helps you improve your career and serve more people. And you just helped me do that today, buddy. So thank you for
Thanks,
contributing.
brother. Good to see you again.
Thank you all for watching. And look forward to being with you in future communications. Take care, everybody.
Aloha. Bye, gang.
Bye-bye.